What is up, everybody? It is Monday, and this week, that means we're doing the news. So, in my first story this week, 2019 reportedly will be the last year of the Volkswagen Beetle. I can't say that I'm super sad about that. I've never been that huge a Beetle fan, but honestly, the new Beetle I have never really felt like was the same car as the old Beetle. Like, I understand there's a certain love for the original Beetle. It's a very unique car. The new Beetle is almost just like a Jetta, but just with a lot of pain in the butt parts and things that are hard to get to. I don't know, but the company claims that market trends are changing, and that since people are more interested now in SUVs and larger vehicles and less in the compact cars, they would rather, instead of trying to fight the trend, let the brand die out. And I can understand that. I don't really know what the new Beetle was supposed to be for in the first place. It's an odd car, but that's that. 2019 is the end. A moment of silence for the Beetle. Moving on. As some of you may know, the great god of all Japanese sports cars, the Toyota Supra, is slated to make a return. I couldn't tell you how many people I know of who have been waiting on this forever, and as information is being released, I'm seeing more and more stuff about it. In case you don't know, let's go over the basics. Toyota is bringing the Supra back. It is going to still be a front engine, rear wheel drive sports car. It is still going to be available as a coupe. Odd things, it will apparently be sharing a chassis and some other parts, including drivetrain components, with the new BMW Z4 or Z4 if you're watching from outside of the United States. Regardless, that's a little strange to me. I don't know how I feel about BMW being involved. I mean, obviously, the Turbo Straight 6 that they're talking about using from BMW is not a 2JZ. It's gonna feel weird to me. Even some of the photos, there's a little too much BMW look to it, but we'll see how that turns out. I mean, it's still too early to make that call, but they are guessing there's gonna be some pretty good numbers, horsepower wise and weight wise. So all of that is really good to see. It is also encouraging to know that apparently the Z4 and the Supra are being developed separately despite the components that they share, as well as the fact that the Supra will be a coupe, the Z4 will only be offered as a roadster. So we are going to see some separation in brands there, which I think is good. As long as there is enough power, as long as the Supra lives up to the old Supra. That's going to be the hardest thing about this whole thing. The Supra is not just a car. It has a cult following of people who basically consider this the end-all be-all of Japanese sports cars. So it's got big shoes to fill. I'm anxious to see how that's gonna go. But the most important note is, we know for sure that there's gonna be an automatic option. Obviously, everything has an automatic option now. However, the head of development has said that there could potentially be a manual transmission option, even going so far as to sounding sort of like they're really leaning that way in the Japanese or right-hand drive markets. However, there's obviously some skepticism over whether or not it's worth it to them to spend the money to bring the manual transmission option into the American market, as there are not as many people nowadays who drive stick as they used to be. And this is really important. So if you're out there in YouTube land and you're a Supra fan of any kind, whether you've owned one or not, please let Toyota know to bring the manual version to the United States. We do not want an automatic Supra. That defeats the entire purpose and would totally ruin the car for me. Although they have already mentioned ease of engine swaps for the 4-cylinder model. May have forgotten to mention there's a 4-cylinder model. And that's promising, because let's face it, a new Supra is probably gonna see a lot of 2J swapped new Supras. That's gonna happen. I'm calling it right now. We don't even need to worry about that. But regardless, really hope that goes that way. Really hope we see a good new Supra with a manual transmission. And in the last story for this Monday, GM China, that's a thing. If you're in America and don't know that it's a thing, it is. GM China, which I believe now goes by the name Shanghai GM, it is recalling 3.3 million cars for what it is saying are faulty suspension arms that can deform under what they consider to be extreme conditions. This is, let's not forget, the country that Ford is talking about moving production of the Focus to. This is also the country who can't seem to get any of their own cars into the United States, largely because they can't seem to pass crash test standards. Does it surprise us that 3 million cars were recalled? Is anyone else seeing this as a problem? I'm not saying car companies don't have recalls for similar things. Japanese car companies, American car companies, it happens. But I'm still very skeptical about China being able to produce cars of the same quality that we're used to seeing, and this recall does not make me feel any more comfortable about that. So take that for what you will, and let me know what you think down in the comments. Let me know what you think about that, what you think about all these car companies moving production to China as well as any thoughts you have on the other two stories. Please like this video and drop me a comment about what you think, as well as making sure you're subscribed to this channel if you're new here, and you hit the bell icon if you're not new here. Other than that though, I'm out of here for this one. The next video will be out in a couple days, and I will see you guys then. Appreciate it. Peace.